This is my turbo Honda Civic. It's been a long time since it has been fully together on the channel. So today, I'm gonna give you guys a walk around and refresher of the entire build, go over everything that I have on this car so that you guys are fully up to date on where we're at with the EG. I've done a lot of switching around, NA turbo, eBay turbo, precision turbo, ram horn manifold, top mount. I've done a lot of different setups over the years. So I figured today is the perfect opportunity to get everybody up to speed on frame. I acquired this 1993 Honda Civic a few years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago. I bought it with a stock internal LS engine, so B18B, non-VTEC, and I pretty much straight away put these headlights on it and then turboed it. The first turbo kit I ever bought for this car was about 600 bucks. It was from eBay. It came with one of those cast bottom mount manifolds, downpipe, all the stuff. I turboed the stock LS with my friend Gingium, got it tuned, had some fun, and broke the motor. I cracked some ring lands, I cracked some like valve reliefs on that motor. So I decided it was time to go LS VTEC. I sent my block, which is the exact block that's in this car right now. I sent this block out to CSS, Cylinder Support System. I had them do their CSS service on this engine. I got the block back. I dropped it off at my friend's shop, 16 Motorsports. Had them build the bottom end. I bought a head that was fully built and ported. I assembled the rest of the engine myself, got it tuned, and I cracked a bunch of pistons. Rebuilt it, cracked a bunch of pistons. Rebuilt it, had a weird tapping noise / weird sound. Never got it dyno tuned after the third rebuild. Took it all apart and then realized it was just my LMAs. Put new LMAs in it, new cams, reassembled the entire engine by hand, all myself, including gapping the piston rings and everything right here in my garage. And this is the engine that you see in the car right now. So it is that same original LS block that came in the car with CSS. It's bored out to 82 millimeters, which is pretty thin for an LS block. It has CSS, it's running 9:1 compression, CP pistons, Manley Turbo Tough rods, King Racing bearings. I've tried ACL in the past. I have nothing bad to say about ACL. I just decided with this new rebuild I was gonna try King. So far they've been great. No weird noises or anything weird so far that I've noticed. It's running, I believe, SuperTech valve train, or maybe Brian Crower, I can't remember. Skunk 2 Pro Stage 1 cams. It's got some BWR adjustable cam gears on there in purple that really match the valve cover. I think it looks pretty sweet. And of course, the coil unplug kit from Nomus Industries. I really like how the engine bay looks. I think it's really aggressive. I think it's pretty well organized for how much stuff is going on here. And lastly, I'm running Heat Range 8 spark plugs. I think that's all the necessary information about the lung block. So if any of you guys are wondering what my setup is, that's my setup. Oh, last thing. I'm running flat top valves. I'm running like flat valves. So it gets you a little bit more compression. Typically it's an all motor thing, but I just didn't know any better when I bought the head, so I got them. And honestly guys, high compression E85 turbo is the way to go. I honestly wish that I would have went with a slightly higher compression ratio piston, I think. Build boost quicker, a little bit more efficient. Yes, it's a little bit more risky for detonation, but with the E85, as long as you're getting quality E85, you should be good, as long as your tuner knows what they're doing. All right, we're gonna get to the turbo kit, which is the most exciting part probably, in just a second. But before we do that, I wanna go over intake manifold and fuel setup. The intake manifold that I'm running is low-key a knockoff Skunk 2 Pro Street manifold. I think these are pretty much impossible to find now, but I got my hands on one. It's fully ported. I have a video on doing that from like 2 winters ago. Throttle body is port matched into the intake manifold. Obviously I have no plenum spacer on this one. Throttle body I'm running is a 74 mil Skunk 2 like Pro Series throttle body. As for fuel lines, I'm running Valix Racing 6AN fuel lines from the tank to the feed side, and then from the feed side to the tank. I forgot, I thought I was running the rubber line still, but I do have this like AN braided one. It's technically still rubber on the inside, it's just braided on the outside, so there's that. Got an AEM fuel pressure regulator. I have like a Marshall fuel pressure gauge, AEM fuel rail, and then the injectors are Injector Dynamics 1750Xs. So 1750 cc's of fuel injection, boys. And lastly, I have an inline fuel filter right here, just like a cheap one, nothing crazy. Not like K-Tune, no name brand on it or anything like that. We got a K-Tune 4-bar map sensor, and we're running a Blox TPS. So that's the intake manifold setup. That's everything I can think of for that. One more thing before we move on to the turbo kit that I want to show you guys. LS VTEC engines are known for leaking oil from the head right here by the trans. I have 0 leaks on this setup right now. I've never had that before with this engine because I have never copper sprayed the gasket like this before. So I copper sprayed the head gasket. You can see that in my probably 2 videos ago when I built the motor. And you know, you just put a really good layer of copper spray. I'll show you guys what that stuff looks like if I have any left. No name brand shout outs, but this is kind of what you're looking for. Copper spray. So I just sprayed the whole head gasket, both sides. Really good coverage, good layers on each side. And then you slap that baby in, and honestly, it's sealing up super nicely. You will get a little bit of copper in your coolant, at least at first, but I'm sure that, you know, if I were to flush the coolant a time or 2, that would be totally gone. I'm not worried about it at all. Motor mounts, I have Hasport motor mounts with a BWR bracket, looking pretty sweet. That's on all 3 of the main motor mounts, including the T-bracket mount back there. I probably won't be able to show you guys, but it's tucked in there. And the biggest thing with the motor mounts is I'm also running Hasport torque mounts. So I think I'm gonna be able to show you guys, but check that out. That's a Hasport torque mount. And those things are absolutely sick, guys. Absolutely sick. Now I promise we're gonna get to the turbo kit in a minute because I know, like I said, that's the most exciting part here. But I want to do one more thing before we do and go over the chassis. In terms of suspension and brakes here, I'm running Blox Racing Tuner Series coilovers. They have non-adjustable damping and they're kind of set up for like track/street use. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've had 5 or 6 different sets of coilovers on this car in my ownership, and these are my favorite. They ride super nice. I'm not sponsored by any means. I'm not trying to shout out Blox. And honestly, they don't even sell these anymore. Like, they don't have these for sale on their site, I don't think. It's like an older version. They're discontinued. The newer version of the Tuner Series, I believe, has softer springs, which is no bueno. Not a fan of that. These springs are like nice and aggressive on the street and like perfect on the track for me at least. As far as brakes go, this is known as the Mini Cooper brake upgrade. I'm running a brake rotor from a Mini Cooper. I'm running a caliper from a Honda CR-V, a Civic EX knuckle with TSX brake pads. This brake setup, guys, is more than enough for me. I have almost never locked up the brakes. Only once on track did I ever lock up the brakes. Speaks volumes that I even could lock up the brakes with such a budget brake setup, but they're sick, and I highly recommend this brake setup. I'm gonna be taking these off before I go to the track here in the next video. Next video, we're going to the racetrack with this thing, by the way. We're going drag racing. Trying to set a low 10 with that 567 wheel horsepower. But unfortunately, I have to take those brakes off and those knuckles before I go to the track because my slicks will not fit over those brake calipers and rotors, unfortunately. As far as wheels go, which I gotta shout out Koenig. These are Koenig Ultragrams. These are 15x8 plus 36 offset. They're freaking sweet. I love how they look on this car. I love the color. I love the style. They're dope. That's all I gotta say about those. Link in the description if you wanna check them out. Still running drum brakes in the rear. Ultra swaggy look back there. I have camber arms in the rear and I have like cool lower control arms, whatever you guys know what I'm talking about. That ultra swag Civic look. I do still have the exhaust on here. It's just hanging. It's not hooked up to anything. That's coming off today so that we can get ready for the track. But I've just been lazy and haven't taken it off yet. So as far as interior goes, I have it mostly gutted, pretty much all gutted. I'm running a NRG Ultra Prisma seat in red. I actually really like the seat. It's a little bit small for me. If you are over 6 foot, you're not gonna fit in this properly, but it's very like cushiony. It's very soft. A lot of padding compared to like my Sparko and my 8th gen. And it has these cool little pockets so you can put your phone in. Pretty stoked on that. Pedals, still running the automatic brake pedal. Yes, I am ultra gangster for that. It's pretty swag. Nobody else can drive my car because anytime they try to clutch in, they always hit the brake with their left foot, their clutch foot, and it usually sends people through the windshield, which is pretty sick. Keys, running that Boosted John Deserve Nothing, Earn Everything jet tag. You guys got to check these out. Link in the description down below. We got my data logging switch. This used to be high boost, low boost, but it's been more useful as data logging. I can just turn it on, car starts data logging to the ECU, and turn it off, you know. We got an eBay boost gauge. That's from my original turbo kit that was $600. And we got an AEM Uego X wideband. As for the shifter, honestly, I'm really not enjoying this shifter as much as I was hoping I would. It's very stiff. Like it doesn't it doesn't recenter itself, which is super lame. Like, it's just it's a lot of metal. It's very heavy, especially with the shift knob on it. I'm gonna be swapping this to a different shift knob for the track because this is just, dude, it's just too heavy to be throwing around, you know, it's just so slow to shift. And I would love to try a different shifter at some point here because this one, like I said, it's just not doing it for me. It's just very stiff, wompy. Feels like I'm stirring mud. If any of you guys have any suggestions on how to make this K-Tune shifter feel a little bit better, I don't know if it's the joint down there, I don't know if I have something too tight or what, but it just does not feel great. Lastly, I have a Momo steering wheel. This thing is sick. I think it's called the Monte Carlo. I don't remember what size it is. Horn is not hooked up, just there for looks, but that thing looks super sweet. I really want to get like an extender for the hub to push it out a little bit further because it's very close to the turn signal stock and I sometimes will like hit my hand on it when I'm driving. And that's pretty much it for the interior. The rear is gutted. And I have a Walbro 450 fuel pump. That's what I'm running for fuel back there. And now, finally, onto the turbo kit. I can't think of anything else to show you guys before I show you guys the turbo kit, but this turbo kit has been hand selected, hand assembled by me. Pretty much everything in this kit I pieced together. This is not a kit that you could just buy off the shelf. This is what you should do, in my opinion, if you're trying to turbo your car. Don't go out and buy some turbo kit. They're usually not optimized. They're really lame. Figure out what you need. Buy the stuff that's going to accomplish your goals for your build. Anyway, we have some 3-inch intercooler piping just from eBay. It has a really like disgusting coating on it, so you couldn't weld it. So we had to scratch a lot of the coating off to weld it. That's why it looks really yucky. Highly recommend just getting like the polished kind, or if you're gonna do something really dumb like I did, get it like powder coated or something after, make it look nice. Intercooler piping is a big deal. It takes up a lot of the engine bay. As for my breather setup, a lot of controversy over this one because I have it vented from this cool little valve cover cap. It's from level 7. This vents to the top 2 ports of the breather box, and then the bottom 2 ports go to the back of the block, which is connected to the crankcase. So it's venting from the valve cover and the crankcase, and anytime that oil gets pushed into this box, it just drains back into the engine through those bottom 2 hoses into the crankcase. People get really mad about that in the comments. I've been running it on all my setups for the last 2 years, and I've had no issues with oil. I've even sent my oil out to, I believe it's called BlackRock or Blackworks, oil testing company, something like that. It's called something like that. And they tested my oil out of my stock internal GSR, this motor right here, that I absolutely thrashed. Stock internals, over 500 horsepower to the wheels. They tested the oil after like 5,000 miles of absolute beating on it, and they said that it was perfect. Literally no signs of engine wear. The oil had good viscosity, nothing was weird. So everyone that is freaking out about the drain back system, you guys need to chill. You guys need to seriously chill out. Or don't. Honestly, I love the comments. Keep them coming. I know I said the turbo kit might be the most exciting part of this video, but I think the transmission actually might be, but we're gonna do that last, I guess. So hang tight. My transmission setup is some secret sauce, and I'm gonna share that with you guys at the end of this video, as well as my phone number. So hang tight. Anyway, intercooler piping comes around. I got a silicone 90 down there. Comes around town and goes straight into the side of the intercooler. Right up front here, and then the other side of the intercooler has my blow-off valve. It's a tile blow-off valve, and it just feeds straight into the turbo. The intercooler is directly attached to the turbo back here. This is called a single backdoor intercooler. Let's call the backdoor intercooler port right there. So it has one backdoor port and one side port. The setup's nice. Obviously, like slightly faster spool. Turbo goes straight into the intercooler. No jacking around with pipes going all around this way. Pretty sweet. I really like it. As for turbo manifold, this is where we get to the exciting stuff, guys. I'm running a 1320 ram horn manifold with a T3 flange. This thing has proven to make great power, but it cracked. You guys can see where I welded it. You guys hopefully saw that in the last video. I had to re-weld the cracks on the turbo manifold. I'm no artist, does not look the best, but still works, so I'm happy with that. And it definitely flows really well because we've made great power with it. Also something pretty cool, this is another Valix Racing product. These are ARP header bolts. I'm using them on my turbo manifold. And yes, they do fit with the ram horn, even in this like really disgusting corner. You just have to put these bolts into the manifold first, put it against the head, and then put in like the side ones, tighten them down, and then the rest go in super easy, no problem. Wastegate is I think this is the only, aside from the manifold, I guess, because the manifold is technically some Chinese part, but I think this is the only like non-authentic moving part in my turbo system. And this is a Chinese tile replica blow-off valve, 44 mil. I don't know what wastegate springs in it. I think it's something like 11 pounds or something like that. It's been okay. I've had some issues with it. I highly recommend not dealing with the issues that I have with this wastegate because they could have hurt my motor, but I figured it out, so we're all good. Just buy quality parts for your turbo kit. Take your time, save your money, do it right the first time, save you a lot of headaches, and then you won't have to go through what I went through for the past like 3 years of just like destroying motors. And buy authentic parts. Wastegate dump just feeds pretty much straight down. I got a little custom filter on the turbo. We got a custom made exhaust by me, and it just goes out here, does a 180. Goes in between the block and the turbo. It's a really tight fit down there. It snakes between the bracket for the torque mount and the filter, and then it comes out the bumper. And I personally love the exhaust setup on this car. I love the bumper exit. I think it looks super aggressive, and I love how it sounds. Sounds like a motorcycle. Super cool. And the moment that you have all been waiting for, as I'm sure most of you guys know, this is a Precision 5858 turbo. It's a journal bearing turbo, and guys, it is a beast. It is an absolute tank. I think it is a great balance between spooling and top end power. I think it's a great middle ground. We obviously made great power with this turbo. There's definitely a lot more left in it, probably another 10 pounds. We're only running 20 pounds of boost right now. This car is making 567 wheel horsepower with this turbo, with this setup. Actually, we were limited on fuel because I still need to hardwire my fuel pump, and I need to put a little bit bigger of a wastegate spring in there, and then we should be able to go back and crank another, I don't know, 5 to 10 pounds of boost out of this turbo. This thing has been absolutely nasty on the street with 567 wheel horsepower. I can't even wait to see what it's going to do on the track tomorrow. I really hope I don't break it. This is the thing that I'm worried about breaking because it is pretty sweet. I put a lot of work into it and I really like it. This transmission is using GSR gears 1 through 5 and an LS trans final drive. LS trans, not Chevy LS, obviously. B18B1 transmission final drive. So it's got those shorter GSR gears with a slightly longer final drive, and with boost, it is such a great setup. It's such a nice middle ground. In between shifts, you stay in boost, which is perfect. If you have the LS trans, which I know a lot of people say they really like for boost, sometimes those gears are a little bit too long, and when you shift, you fall out of boost, and that's not good on the drag strip. You want to be in boost, in power, in torque at all times. And lastly, it's running a wave track limited slip differential. I've had issues with that diff since I installed it. My axle constantly pops out on the driver's side. The only way that I was able to fix that is by running axle shims in between the axle and the back side of the hub. So like in between the axle and the wheel bearing, like where the cup sits. That way it pushes the axle into the trans a little bit more, but it's definitely not the right way to fix it. That's just what I'm doing. Oh, and I almost forgot, intercooler. I told you guys this single backdoor intercooler. This intercooler is from Full Race, I believe, but it all works and made really solid power, like I said. So anyway, that is Frank. That is the full update on Frank. I know that was a lot of talking, but I wanted to just get this out on YouTube so that everybody can see this and be caught up and know exactly what's going on with the car. Because like I said, we're going to the track in the next video. And when I go to the track, I want to make sure that you guys all know what I'm pushing down the drag strip. Thank you guys for watching. This has been fun. I haven't really done like a really simple video like this in a long time. So it's honestly, it feels nice to just do like a really chill video where I'm not, you know, swapping a motor or installing a turbo kit and tuning it and getting the first start and the first drive all in one video. You know, super simple video compared to what I've been doing lately. And I just want to say thank you guys for appreciating all the work I've been putting into the videos lately. You guys have been commenting a lot saying that each video is getting better and better. I hope this one isn't a detractor from that, but I still think it was worth it to make this video, to make sure that, you know, like I said, everyone knows what's up with the build, knows where we're at. It is not all-wheel drive. I forgot to mention that. Some people wonder, will it someday be all-wheel drive like I said years ago? Hopefully. I wanted to make this car all-wheel drive so long ago, and I just haven't been able to because I keep breaking engines, I keep breaking stuff. Hopefully this engine is stout now. I have 2 transmissions at my disposal. I have the trans that's in the engine, and I have a B16 trans with Quafe LSD. If I break these 2 transmissions and I'm out of transmissions, then maybe the sensible thing to do would be to replace it with an all-wheel drive trans. So car could be all-wheel drive at some point here. We'll see. If the trans holds, then I'm not going to do it anytime soon, really. But as soon as I can, I would like to make this car all-wheel drive. I think it'd just be such a tank. Frank the Tank, dude. Check out the Boosted John merch in the link in the description down below, www.earneverything.shop. And don't forget about the K-Swap car, K-Swap auction. That car is so clean. I really hope that I'm able to deliver this car to one of you guys. The auction starts as soon as all the registration spots fill up, so get signed up, don't miss out. It's only $5 to sign up, and you only bid pennies. So one of you guys is gonna get this car for an insanely low price. Like I said, next video is taking this car to the drag strip. We're gonna see what it can do. Hopefully a low 10, mid to low 10. I'm not gonna go too crazy, hopefully. I really don't wanna break the car. I'm most likely gonna drive it to the track, so hopefully it doesn't explode. If you like the build, please consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing, because we're only gonna do more and more crazy stuff with this car. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Boosted John. We deserve nothing, earn everything.